Live. I welcome guests from all across the globe who entertain us, wow us, and excite us. And I am very, very excited about our guest today. So whether you're here live or on replay, doesn't matter. We love you. Make sure you say hi in the comments. Today, I am welcoming Cat Williford to the show, and we are talking about her new book, The Ovarian Chronicles. Cat is an internationally renowned coach, speaker, and author for women since 1994. She has held the coaching profession's highest credential of Master Certified Coach since 1998 and has trained over 13,000 coaches internationally. That's a lot of coaches. I'm a born and bred Texan. Cat's willingness to tell it straight as a shot of tequila is part of her charm. It's part of why I like her so much. Today, this modern-day goddess lives on the beach in Ventura, California, where she delights in moonlight sparkles on the ocean. So without further ado, we bring Cat into the show.
Caren, it's so good to see you.
That's a lot of coaches.
That's a lot of coaches. I've been doing it for a long time.
Wow. That's all I want to say. That's just a lot of coaches.
A lot of coaches, and it's my thrill actually to support them on their journey. It's my thrill to support anyone on their journey.
Well, and you know, I've said many times, you're my coach, and you know, you're really good at what you do. I am sure that all the coaches that you've trained have taken what you do so well, and now are able to impart that on their clients and their people as well, which gives you, I'm sure, a lot of joy. So your book, The Ovarian Chronicles, details your story of how you lost sight of navigating your future. So the first question I really want to ask you is, where did that title come from?
Well, it came from the fact that it was, I mean, I think we women are kind of ruled by this thing called our ovaries. I have been, you know, and they seem to dictate so much. And I was in the gynecologist office when this book's like, the first sentence is me in stirrups. I'm like at the gynecologist's office hearing what no woman wants to hear in her lifetime. And so when I was journaling about this, I was like, all right, in my journal, this is the Ovarian Chronicles. And then I realized this is a book.
It's a book and it's stuck. It's very catchy. The title's catchy. And I was curious as to where that actually is. So that's a great story.
Yeah.
So taking responsibility for your health and dreams is a prevalent theme in the Ovarian Chronicles. Is there a specific event or events that led to that discovery? Was that you sitting in the stirrups?
Well, it was me sitting in the stirrups, and it was me 20 years before that. Yeah. With a mystery illness that people couldn't quite figure out. Nobody was talking about candida when I had systemic candida in my mid-20s. Yeah, lucky me, woo! But that really is that moment where I started down the alternative holistic healing path. Having grown up a surgeon's father, I was steeped in the miracles of Western medicine, but they were getting me nowhere. And so this really, you know, I had to take responsibility for my body at that point. And really with the dream piece, I had let that drift for my dream for children. And I was in a beautiful relationship for many, many years. And finally, after a long time, many years, like 16 and a half years, he finally said no. Not now, but no, with a period after it. And I realized I had abdicated, taken responsibility for my dream. I had been really supporting his dreams. And so I want to take a stand here and say, hey, girl, we got to put our big girl panties on and our lipstick, and we got to take some action for ourselves.
Oh my gosh. I just love that. You know, you talk about body wisdom. Mm-hmm. So what the heck does body wisdom mean?
Yeah. What does that mean? It sounds
so. What does that mean? Is your body smart? What does that mean?
I think my body is way smarter than this will ever be. Seriously. So I developed what I consider a very powerful relationship with my body. And that's part of my work, is supporting women to stop the hatred of their body. Stop. I mean, we're mostly at war with our body. We deride ourselves. And I noticed, like, even last year, I was kind of laughing at what menopause was doing to my body. And like, oh, the menopause and the this and the that. And all of a sudden, in February, I'm like, I can't fit in any of my clothes. I am taking charge here. And I was talking to my body. I'm like, what do you want here? And it's like, I want to be strong again. I want to be healthy again. So I feel like wisdom for not just our body can come through our body, but I will put my hands on my heart center and I'll just close my eyes and say, hey there. And by the way, I've named the relationship, like the entity of my body, I call her Olympia. She's
Olympia. Is that because Olympia is strong?
Olympia is strong. She's an Olympian. She's from Greece. I'm all about the goddesses. So
I love it.
That's what came to me. And so I'm in relationship with my body, and I talk to her and I listen to what she has to say. Like, sometimes she's like, just chill out.
So, you talk about survival skills, specifically hope became a survival skill for you. So what would you say to others?
When I developed that skill, I was at a very vulnerable, painful time in my life. My father had my kidney in him and he was dying. And over a 6-month journey. And you can't get through 6 months of being by someone's bedside unless you craft hope. So hope let me survive that. Now, outside of that kind of circumstance, hope as a survival strategy is not always going to get us what we want. We have to take responsibility for those choices. We have to speak out loud what we want. We can't just assume people are mind readers. And we can't just assume that because our body is in good health in this moment, that our fertility will continue to last.
So interesting. So interesting. So if you're just tuning in, we're talking to Cat Williford, the author of this amazing book that is not quite out right this second, but it will be out. And this is, if you're watching this 6 months from now, a year from now, or whatever, you're going to be able to go pick up the book. So before we move any farther into this, I want to actually put the book into the post here so that people can see this. I'm going to put this right in the big screen. And you're going to notice in the comments, guys, you're going to actually see a link that you're going to be able to click on that will take you over to Cat's page, because it's, as I said, it's not quite older. What are they going to find there when they click on that link?
So what you're going to find there is you're going to find out some more about the book, but you're also going to have the opportunity. I love giving things away. One of my favorite things to do is give things to people. So I've created some bonuses here for those who want to play. I'm going to do a community Zoom jam is what I'm calling it.
Fun.
With me, the week the book comes out. And so if you want to find out when the book comes out, get that direct link and how to get on that. I'm also offering my Decode Your Body's Messages for Love, Health, and Happiness program. It's $100 value. It's a workbook. It's some meditations and guided visualizations. It is powerful medicine, y'all. I am offering this as a bonus to come into the fold, come and play, and really be in this conversation for women, by women, for women. It's going to be powerful.
So what will happen is once the book is live, they're going to be able to go buy the book, and there'll be instructions on how to go access all of those bonus things. That's pretty cool. So you say it's time for the great unmasking. First of all, I love that. It's just a great title. It's great for all of us internet marketers. It's a great searching title. What does that mean, though? What does it mean that we're unmasking ourselves?
Well, part of what I learned through my Ovarian Chronicle journey was I was identifying the masks that I had been wearing that allowed me to stay in this kind of uncomfortable comfort zone.
Right.
And so one of them was the fairy tale fine mask. How many of us pretend things are okay when they're not? Because to actually not means we have to say something and do something differently. So sometimes we're just not ready for that.
Right, right.
Other times I'm wearing the chief operating officer of control mask.
Not me. I'm a control freak. Oh, yes.
Yes. I call her my kook.
COC.
Kook, COOC. That's right. And, or we wear the suck it up buttercup mask. Like, okay, it'll be my turn someday. Let me just help this person get what they need and want. Oh, there's so many masks we wear. It's exhausting. And the truth is, they were born out of necessity.
Right.
And our psyches were smart to build them. The problem becomes when we forget we're wearing them and we start interacting that way all the time. So the unmasking is about, hey, y'all, let's get real. Because if we can get real with ourselves and those we love and honor what's true for us, we can then actually start to build those dreams we want to be living into. We can change that storyline.
Right.
And start living the one we want to be living.
And that's so powerful. I mean, that if we can do that, I think that's obviously a game changer. It's life altering when we can do that.
Put a pen in your hand and start writing that story from how you want it to be.
Exactly. And maybe turn it into a book, you might even want to turn it into a book. You say that your memoir, this is your memoir. It's considered a cautionary tale. First of all, I love the words that you use, and I love how you describe things differently than most people that I've had the pleasure of meeting. So when you say it's a cautionary tale, what are you cautioning women about? What do you want them to learn from your example?
That's great. So there's two things. The first thing is, I want to caution the younger women. If hope is your strategy for getting pregnant later in life, wake up.
Right.
Because I wish somebody had handed me that cup of coffee.
Right.
And said, sweetheart, if this is what you want, you make your stand now.
Now.
I waited till I was 41. Mistake. So I'm a cautionary tale. And listen, I'm healthy. My grandmother gave birth to my father and she was 43 in 1933. So like I was counting on that longevity, right? So don't count on things that are not provable. I
want to ask, and I don't know if this is too personal, when you realized that it was over, it was done, and you're not going to be able to do this, and you're a cautionary tale, what were the emotions that you went through? I mean, how did you deal with that? That's a huge, especially for women, you talk biological clock, and we talk about you're going to have kids and legacy, and what did that do to you when you realized?
Well, it's interesting because I was really still wanting to get pregnant when this ovarian diagnosis came my way. And so that's another reason I had to title this book this, The Ovarian Chronicles. And I continued, honestly, with a little bit of hope as a strategy, coping mechanism and survival skill there. But really what happened was once I was out of the crisis of the health scare, I was really looking at what I was putting myself through to keep my hope alive and to keep my fertility going for as long as I could. And what I recognized was, and I've spoken with many women about this since, how challenging it is to grieve something that has never been.
So interesting.
So grieving this thing that I never had, but it makes you feel cuckoo.
Yeah.
There's nobody to bury. There's no urn of ashes. So this grief doesn't have something tangible to it, and it makes you feel cuckoo. At least it made me feel cuckoo. And I was questioning myself constantly around my deservingness to actually grieve this pain until I woke up and, well, of course you deserve to grieve this pain.
Right.
You're grieving. So then it was about the grief and letting go. And I think grief is so as painful as it is so healthy to let ourselves move on. And so for me, it was exhuming all of the coulda, woulda, shouldas, exhuming the great wants and really releasing them and not letting them stay stuck in my heart or
your stuff. Yeah, your all the different chakras. Putting your dream on hold obviously builds pressure and regret, right? And eventually something breaks, something causes a change. What was that tipping point? Was it the tipping point at that specific time, or did something else happen?
It was, no, something else had happened in my relationship prior, and I write about it in the book. We had just gone through a big, with life. My grandmother died, his grandfather died, a big business deal went, was gone overnight. And we got out from underneath a really big house, sold it just in time, and we were relaxing, but he couldn't sit still. It was all about this other thing. And I'm like, what about us? And I saw I was like, it will never be about us. Now, I just want to say, I'm not here to make him wrong. I still love him.
Yeah.
God, I still love him. But at that moment, it was like, I can't keep doing this, or I'm going to turn into somebody I don't want to be.
So you took care of yourself, which is important. I think that's a great message for women everywhere, men too, but let's face it, we're talking about Ovarian Chronicles, right? So women need to take care of themselves. Sometimes they need to learn the beauty of the word no. It's a beautiful word, no. It's taken me a long time to learn that word, but I've learned.
And it can be a complete sentence. We don't have to justify it. And that's what I realized I've been doing. I've been trying to justify, like any way I could still stay in this relationship. Again, I love this man.
Right.
But I saw, wow, it's never going to be this thing that I needed to be.
Right. It wasn't good for you.
At that point, it was not. And
at that point,
you have to own those things, and it's painful, and there's grief there.
So you teach a lot about authenticity. That is, you have these beautiful cards. You do a lot of stuff with authenticity. And in fact, you have your signature program, which is called the Authenticity Advantage, where you help women unmask their own stories, their vulnerabilities, their hardiness. I've actually gone to events that you've done. I've created masks. I mean, we've done all of this stuff. Tell us a little bit about the program. And I understand that when they go to your website, and we'll give them your website in a little bit, they can actually go access this to see what it's all about. But a little bit about the Authenticity Advantage.
I think my entire coaching has been built around supporting women to become their authentic selves, to strip away those things that they are not.
Right.
The world loves to tell us who we are. When we were growing up, we were told who we are. Yeah. And at a certain point, those things no longer fit. But we keep trying to fit into them.
Right.
And that's what I began to notice with so many of the women I was coaching and myself. Like, what is it I'm trying to fit into? Because, I feel, I'm a 5'7" woman. I kept feeling like I was trying to put on, petite pants or something, and they were up to my knees. So I was like, I don't fit this mold. And all of my clients were saying similar things. And that's really when I got, we have to strip down all these old assumptions about ourselves that have been layered on. Some of them have come through experience, but most of them were outside in.
I hear you. You know my story. Yeah. You totally know my story. I mean, sitting in front of a camera and doing live stream for years since then. I mean, forever.
Yeah.
And talking. I also talk about being your authentic self. And in fact, my earlier shows were all about that. And I would look in the mirror and I'd say, my hair is pitch black. It is not, I'm not being authentic. And so I totally understand, but I didn't understand what it was doing to me until I let the hair grow out, and I did it on camera, and it changed the trajectory of my career, definitely, because I showed myself as vulnerable. And I think there's a connection. You can tell me yay or nay, between vulnerability and authenticity.
Absolutely. And I think one reason we see people not acting and behaving authentically is they're afraid to be vulnerable.
Right.
I love to say my greatest strength is my vulnerability, because when I can be, and even if you start with yourself, like, here's a tip. You don't have to go and like, here I am, world, and, be naked with your heart wide open when you've not ever done this before. Start with yourself. And to me, it's just telling ourselves the truth. Like, there was a truth you told yourself in that moment, if I'm correct. Would that be fair to say?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't know about you, though, in these last 6 months of coronavirus and COVID and being locked in the house, I have found myself becoming even more authentic, that I am finding that, especially with my family, that I'm able to share my feelings that I've never, ever, ever been able to share, because we're in a different world, right? I don't even believe in the new normal or any of that. I don't. There is no such thing as a new normal. There's no such thing as we're going back to a normal. We just live in a different time right now, and it's changed the way I show up. So as much as this was a physical, a visual look at me being vulnerable, I now talk about how I feel.
Yeah.
So I don't know, is it an age thing?
Well,
virus thing? I don't know.
I think what I see happening here is it is a shift in dynamic. So there's been a shift in dynamic of how we relate to people.
Right.
In terms of so much here now, on video, on screen versus here.
Right.
And interestingly enough, I have seen when we're getting vulnerable here, it's like this little bubble of protection, right? In terms of we're not out in the world, we're not in a group setting. So here we're more apt to be a little more vulnerable, but it's translating out there. People are becoming more vulnerable and truth-telling in their personal relationships.
Yeah, it's changed. It's changed my whole dynamic with my family. I mean, and it's like they don't know what's happened to me. All of a sudden, I'm sharing, which is not usual for me, but it feels so good.
Well, but I think it's your evolution, right? It started with your show when your hair was growing out, and just all the different things you've been doing to grow and stretch and become more authentic. It keeps showing up. And I think that's what I see happening that excites me, is that I think there is a great hunger for this out there, for all of us to find that path of more authenticity.
Right.
And if we even take that big word out of it, I think it's a longing to be known.
Yes. And yes, I agree. I agree.
And those masks we talked about earlier, keep people from knowing us.
Right. I feel known now. My family now knows me, which they didn't before. And it's so interesting, and it feels good. It feels good. So I think this is really important. If you're wondering how to find out more about the program, and I encourage you to go over to catwilliford.com. You're going to find all sorts of really great information there, including the way to get to opt in so that you find out when the book is out there. And I know you have some free gifts there as well on the site that have nothing to do with the book. So I encourage people to go over there. We also encourage people to go follow you on Facebook. Now, this is your Facebook page. So if you type in the search engine on Facebook, Authenticity Advantage Women's Series, the page is going to show up. Now, you also have a group of which I'm a member, and it's great. There's a lot of conversation back and forth, and a lot of people that are just being themselves, their vulnerable selves. So go and check it out at the Sisterhood Circle Advantage. Put it in the search engine, and it will show up. Now, you also have a Pinterest account. I love it. You're all over the place. So go into Pinterest and type the words Cat Williford, and you will show up there. Pinterest is so much fun. I love it because it's very women-centric, and we're talking women stuff, And you're also can be found on LinkedIn. Again, just put in Cat Williford, and you will show up. We've been talking to Cat Williford about her new book that is coming out. I just want to put this up here one more time. The link is in the comments. I want to make sure you click on it so that you can get the notifications from Cat when it's time to go purchase the book.
And get all the freebie bonuses.
All the freebie bonuses. You got some really cool stuff. And I was about to say a bad word. Cool. I'm not going to say that. You got a lot of cool stuff that's going on over there. Any last minute comments, thoughts that you want to share with our audience? I can't believe, I mean, this time has gone by really, really fast.
I know.
What else would you like to share if there's anything to the audience?
You know, there is something I want to share, and it's really, I think we're in a great moment here where we get to choose. And I invite us all to choose from that authentic place inside of us and not the one that is afraid of things. Like, choose from your heart, not from your fear. And one last thing, I've got this show called Your Heroine's Journey, and I would love anyone to come and play.
Oh, yes. Thank you. I'm so sorry I didn't say that. Now, they can find that on your Facebook page?
It's on it lives on the Authenticity Advantage Facebook page. That's right.
On this one?
On that.
Yeah, and you do a show every couple of weeks, right?
Every other Tuesday, yes.
And you had a really cool guest on your show yesterday, which I encourage people to go on over there and click on it. I'm not going to tell you who it is. I want you to go over there and click on it and watch the show. Guys, we really appreciate, that you're here with us today, or even on replay, because you have a choice as to how to spend your time, and we are bombarded all the time with all sorts of stuff, and you chose to spend it with us. We hope that you'll follow Caren Glasser. You can go follow me on my website, carenglasser.live, which is where all the shows live, and also the blog posts that go along with it. I'm on Instagram. You can go follow me on Instagram at Caren Glasser, Imagine that. You can follow me on Twitter at Caren Glasser. And on Facebook, you can follow me there at Caren Glasser Live, where you can follow us on the shows and everything. Thank you, Cat. Thank you for sharing your expertise, sharing your thoughts, sharing your vulnerabilities, sharing everything, and especially sharing the book, Ovarian Chronicles. I had a chance to read some of it already. It's a wonderful book. It grabs you, it pulls you in, because it very much, it touches you. It touches your heart. You see yourself in it. You see yourself as a woman, the struggles that we go through. So I want to thank you for that. And I encourage everyone to join us next week on the next episode of Caren Glasser Live. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.